That's not right. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. But welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Usually, I guess my finger was still on the little mouse clicker thing, and then it slid over to the countdown one that's right next to my other intro, which was lovingly made for me by my very awesome producer Mikey Famine. And there will be a closing one as well. But welcome everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Today I'm chatting with the awesome Ben G, who also uses the initials after the Ben G part, says SE, because he is also into street epistemology, which we'll talk a little bit about afterwards. But Ben, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I've been involved with your show as well, with the Tart guys, and I'm kind of hoping maybe you guys might have an after party tonight, and I might jump in for a little bit and say hello to a few folks or whatnot. But what I do here is I talk to people about their journeys away from their previous belief systems, whether they be religious or even some scientific woo type shit. I mean, because I will be having, she was supposed to be on last Monday, but of course we had Canadian Thanksgiving and she forgot, and she had dinner plans for their family. So how could I say, no, you're not allowed at Thanksgiving? You have to be on the show. So we rescheduled for November. So her name is Jessica Schaub, and she used to be a guru in the world of woo. So she used to teach shit like pyramid healing and crystal healing and all that other garbage, but she found her way out of that. So we'll be talking about that. But today it's all about you, Ben. So let's go back in time and tell us when you were once a believer, whatever it was that you were a believer in, and tell us about your journey away from those fallacious belief systems.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Neil, for having me on the show. I think what you're doing here is amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm a young adult. I'm 26 years old now, just for reference.
Not so much me anymore. I'm not so young.
And so it was about probably 8 or 9 years ago where I started adopting the label Atheist. Before that, I was a hardcore, if you could call it a hardcore United Methodist Christian. So I was very much into a progressive view of what God was. And I like to think that I was as involved as one could be. What's up, Oz?
You, Oz.
Hey, Oz. So, yeah, I was very much like a United Methodist. I started going to church. Like I was probably about 9 years old when my parents would take me on a regular basis. I believe they were pretty involved before then. They just weren't going every weekend. My dad played like the timpani up in with the chorus, and my mom like led whether it was like a Sunday school group or whatever. So yeah, from the age of 9 to like 17 to 18, I was very involved. I would go every single weekend, probably like twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays. Anyway, my view at the time was just very much that living a life like Jesus was like the most important thing to me. And so I didn't really get steeped into like theology.
But hold on. If you wanted to live a life like Jesus, did that mean you learned how to walk on water? Or?
No, at the time, well, we just basically focused in on the, like sell all of your belongings and do mission work and things. But it was a very like like as I grew up, you start to learn it's a very Americanized version of that where you're kind of volunteering instead of really kind
volunteering. I like it.
Yeah. But I started growing more and more. I really wanted to represent the beliefs very well. I was very lucky. My dad always raised me with this idea that beliefs are very seldom black and white, right? So where people believe very strongly on one side, people would also believe very strongly on the other. A lot of times the truth is somewhere in the middle. So he kind of, I grew up with this idea that I could investigate things. It's like people are usually not, the truth is somewhere in the middle on many controversial topics. So that's kind of what I thought about God. I was like, great, so evolution can happen. There's this intelligent design idea that could have happened. And as I got to high school and became a junior, senior, somewhere in there, I had this idea of just like, wow, like I've got all these interesting ideas about God. I'm learning about conservative ideas about what God is, about evangelical ideas, like very non-United Methodist. We always thought the Baptists were too conservative for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when I realized,
fakers.
yeah, and then I realized like fundamentalists were using the Bible to back up all their beliefs, and I wasn't, and that was a really big issue for me. So I learned more about what the Bible says. I had more and more questions, and I had this moment. I was at youth group, and remember having this moment of all these contradictions. And I said, "Well, what would the world look like without God?" Boom! Everything just clicked. I was just like, everything seems to work. I can explain most of the big questions I have about the universe.
Sure.
God isn't necessary, I don't think, for that.
That's right.
And that sent me on a journey of questioning my labels. Am I an agnostic? Am I a nihilist?
Nihilist, I
Yeah.
think, is a bit of an extreme side of things.
Right. But that sent me on a journey where I still wanted to live like Jesus. I still wanted to have those kind of core values.
Sure.
But yeah, that was, I guess, my deconversion. I literally remember the moment I felt like I had some blinders taken off, and everything just made more sense without the belief that God exists.
Right.
So I don't know how illuminating that was to my deconversion, but
Well, you know what? I find it's one or the other. People either have that one moment that defined it for them, that one kind of aha, minor epiphany, if you will, of the, holy shit. Everything that I know now, compared to what I knew growing up and learning about church and Jesus, and what I've learned now from like scientific evidence and stuff, they don't gel. And people either have that one where that's it, I don't believe anymore, fuck this, or they have a little bit of a journey out of it where they kind of little things start falling down, and they finally, months later they say, you know what, I don't believe this shit anymore.
well, yeah, and it was, and I mentioned the way that my dad taught me that things are very seldom white and black. So I was like, the way I was growing up, my mom would always say, yeah, those Baptists, they're just like crazy. They think this and this. Yeah, and Baptists now I realize are like generally not super, out there in terms of belief. But it caused me to think, well, what are they saying? And do they have good reasons for thinking that? And then I learned about fundamentalists. Well, what are the fundamentalists saying, and why are they saying that? Or do their beliefs hold water? And that's kind of what brought up all of these contradictions when I was in high school. And I kind of sat with them for a little while, and that's kind of what led me to finally realize things just make more sense without God.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm running a little ticker tape there because we have a new channel, True North Talk.
True North Talk, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We broke 100 subs, so that means now we can actually have a personalized URL, which is cool. I never did utilize it for this. I don't think. I may have. I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so yeah, and just a heads up. Sometimes my phone goes off and it makes a little Mario coin noise. So now there's a new. When you hear the Mario coin, guys, now you have to drink, and I'll put this up on the screen for you. So #coins. And it's a drinking game. All right, so be aware for that.
I like it.
Yes, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Carry on, sir.
No, please. Yeah, anytime you have something to add. I guess soon after that, so this was probably, I graduated in 2012 from high school. Like I said, I know that might date some people or paint me. I'm in this weird space where I'm like too old for like the Gen Z, but I'm like too young for people who have doctorates in theology and things like that. So I'm always in this weird middle ground.
Right.
But soon after I graduated high school, I was really interested in having those conversations about like finding that gray area and figuring out, okay, well, how do we know what is true? And about that time was when Peter Boghossian came out with the Manual for Creating Atheists, and Magda Bosco started putting out videos. So I would spend summers, my first couple years in college, I was watching a lot of like the Atheist Experience, and they started talking about things like street epistemology. I was listening to David Smalley with Dogma Debate, and street epistemology came up, and I like to think that I was fairly early. Yeah, I wanted to be a youth pastor, Oz. You know that. That's probably what led me to consider seriously everything. But fairly early after my deconversion, I discovered street epistemology, and I've just been all about. You can apply it to any belief. I don't have to continue being an atheist to use it. If I discover good reasons to reclaim a faith or a religion, I can continue using that method. And I've been trying to back that ever since, just in my personal life. And now I get to create content which hopefully people find exciting and rejuvenating the way I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you reach that point where now you want to just sort of start spreading messages. And I think that this, and that you guys use TikTok a lot, is a great way to do that, just to get the messages out there. And I'm seriously, because you kind of convinced me before we went live a little bit, that I may actually do a TikTok channel, because if I've heard others say that they've gained huge followings just from using TikTok, like on YouTube. You mentioned, oh, I've got this channel, this is what I do, and blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, you got another 1,000-something subs.
Yeah.
And I'm right now just trying to hit 2,000, right? I mean, I'm now past 1,900. It's funny, I put out a tweet the other day. I said, I'm 20 subs away from 2,000, but I meant 120, and I missed hitting the 1 when I made the tweet. And I hate the fact that you can't edit Twitter tweets. Hear that, Twitter? Get on it. But so I was 120 away, but now I'm less than 100 away from 2,000. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. And I was kind of hoping I'd hit 2,000 by my birthday, but I think that was a little over ambitious, maybe, because my birthday's on Tuesday, and I really don't think I'm going to get like 90 something subs by Tuesday. So,
well, you hear it. Hey, everybody watching this, all it takes is sharing this one video. And, even if we have, do you have a count of how many people are on right now?
I think we have about 14.
Yeah, if you take 14 and everybody sends it out to 2 people, you just make something viral, and
they tell 2 friends.
And if you tell 2 friends, share it on your Facebook, share it to like 3,000 friends that you have on Facebook. Even if not everybody likes it, there you go.
Yeah, I've got over 3,000 people on my Facebook, and not everyone likes what I do. That's for sure. I got a few friends that didn't really know I was an atheist until I started getting more vocal about it. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, well, why are you an atheist? I'm like, because I'm unconvinced of your claims of a deity. That's why. Well,
and my Facebook is more tied to my professional life. Like, I've got like my boss and my coworkers on there, and so I'll talk to coworkers in person about my stuff pretty regularly.
Do you use SE on them, or?
Once in a while, yeah. I don't usually call it SE, and I don't do it like formally, but I'll always ask, like, okay, well, what are you actually talking about, and why do you think that? Or, oh, you know what, if you didn't, yeah, in some ways. And I like taking elements of SE and sprinkling it throughout my life. That's usually, yeah, that's probably how I would term it. I just take elements of the Socratic method and help kind of try to come to an understanding.
Which I think the Socratic method, though they use a style of it for SE, I think the Socratic method, I think, is a little bit better than the straight epistemology type or way of doing it, in my opinion, anyways.
Well, it allows what Socrates would do would critique while he's using questions to expose flaws, and so he would insert his own kind of views within there. I think I got excited about street epistemology when I realized this will allow me to better understand the people with whom I disagree. And if I discover that they have good reasons, I should be convinced as well. And so that's the hope, and it doesn't always work out that way, but that's why it's a practice. It's like medicine. You're not going to cure everyone, but right. I don't know if that's a good phrasing, but it's a practice. It's not necessarily working toward an end. It's just attaining more knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. And I mean, I think we should always want to attain more knowledge while we're still here, right? I want to know as much as I possibly can before I kick the bucket.
And then the skepticism comes in when you're trying to avoid the false beliefs as well, or false knowledge. And so that to me is important. And that's what street epistemology allows me to do. It allows me to inquire as to why I should accept certain beliefs. And, there comes a point where, are we going to question every single scientific paper? Yes, you should, if you're able to read a scientific paper and understand everything that's going on.
That's what peer review is all about.
And that's right. And it comes down, for some of those topics, I have to defer to the experts. And there's kind of a valid appeal to authority that I tend to use for subjects outside of my domain of expertise. But just to keep going a little bit, I want to also plug, and I haven't talked about the Secular Student Alliance in a while in a public way. About halfway through college, I became influenced by Magda Bosco, the atheist community of Austin. I thought those things were really, really important. Dogma debate at the time was really influential for me. And I got really excited about starting a college group. Like, that's just what you do. If you're in college and you're excited about an idea or a topic, you start a group. I discovered that there were 13 Christian organizations on my campus. 13 Christian religious organizations, no other religious organizations, no
Wow.
other secular, like explicitly secular value organizations or anything like that. So I did start a Secular Student Alliance chapter on campus, and I was able to go to the national conference 2 times. And the second time I went, I got to meet Objectively Dan. I think that was just like a year after his deconversion. And I was really, really excited to, I got to meet Genetically Modified Skeptic there. Actually, David Smalley was at that one too. So I through that experience, I got to meet all these idols and or like these stars. I was always starstruck, and I was just like, man, it's just like, they're able to put so much work into this thing. I have my own career, my own kind of life goals, but that's great that they're able to do it.
Yeah, Drew's good. Drew's a good guy.
Yeah, and I don't know if Drew would remember that experience, but I've gotten to speak with Dan a few times. We just had him on Tarts this last week. So if you want to experience that conversation, you can go back and watch that. But
I do have a link to the Tart channel down below, guys. So you can go check out all the stuff that they do down there.
Do the typey thing. And I did a radio show on campus based on that club. We were able to do some activism, go on a couple trips, have some professors give talks about like Darwin Day and things. That organization still exists and is still running, and is like one of my proudest achievements in college. And all it took was going to secularstudentalliance.org. How do you start a chapter? So if there are any college students or high school age people out there, I highly recommend those resources. And that's the whole reason why I'm on TART now. That's the whole reason why I'm out there trying to attempt street epistemology and hopefully getting some recordings out soon. But that's kind of like my next chapter. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. When you say recordings, you mean of the show or stuff that you're doing?
Yeah, what stuff that I'm doing with like street epistemology. So I'm a huge proponent of it. I always refer to it. I practice it in my online discussions. But going out and getting recordings, getting people, I'm still learning how to better record, flag down people to have interviews with, editing and things like that. So I've had a few experiences now, but I haven't had a whole lot of success yet of putting out videos with interviews in the style of Cordial Curiosity, Let's Chat, or Magna Bosco. But that's my goal here in the coming months, is to start putting material out.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually have an email correspondence with Let's Chat. He kind of agreed to come on, and then we just all of a sudden, I guess he got busy or something, because we never got back. He never got back to me, so trying to schedule him to come on, but unfortunately, he must have forgotten about it or something, and it got buried in his email somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see him come on. I mean, hey, I've enjoyed every single episode that I've watched here on Neil the 604. I think it's super important because people connect with it, and I know that you've kind of have a dedicated audience at this point, but I would hope that people start bringing in. Well, what's it like to be an atheist? What's it like to come out and be a new atheist? I'd like for this show, and I know that there's books out there and there's other things, but if you're like me, if you're watching this and you're like me, I've got YouTube Premium, so it's like I just plug in my earbud, I'll go on a walk, I'll be walking my dog or working out or something, and I'll just be listening to shows. So shows in this format where you've got great production quality, you can put it on the TV and watch it, but I can also plug in my earbuds and go on a walk.
Sure.
People who are going through a hard time really need to hear our stories.
I agree. That's why I do this, to hopefully to help people that are, worried or scared, or because they have stopped believing or are on that fence where they don't know, and then they can hear stories and they can see the similarities to maybe their own story, or I'm not used to this damn thing yet, or they're something along those lines, right? So maybe it's holy shit, there's a bunch of people out there that think the way I do now.
Yeah.
Wow. And it could help people, and that's why I do it.
And I just mentioned the carrier example before we got on. I realized that we had a very similar beginning, at least like being raised like a more progressive. I think he was way further progressive. I think it's from California, right? So whereas I'm in the Southeast, I'm in the Bible Belt. So I've got a lot more. Yeah, it's progressive, but it's still rooted in certain ideas that are different. But at the same time, I was just like, he's at a certain place now but I can relate to his beginning. And I think as a younger person or coming out of, becoming a young adult, that was really important for me to see, hey, you can be an atheist activist. You can work on in a field of study that relates to your values and progress the conversation. And you don't have to always just be arguing with your parents, your grandparents, your friends, family. Those kinds of things aren't as important as they're important to you as an individual, but when it comes to your contribution to society, you can grow from where you are, right? Mm-hmm. And in 5 years from now, I might be able to look back on this video and think, man, what an idiot. He knew nothing. He hadn't figured anything out. And so I would actually hope that that's the case. I would hope that in 5 years I would have learned enough that I would think current me is an idiot.
Sure.
And,
right. We evolve.
We evolve and we change.
Yeah, exactly. There was a question from a friend of mine named Dave, who actually is from my neck of the woods. He lives about 25 minutes away from me, I would imagine. And he had a question for you, talking about the SE stuff. And I'll pop it in here. Has Ben ever had an SE experience that led him to question his own belief in something?
For so long now, since I kind of started looking into it, I've always had it, like, as soon as I identify a strong belief that I have, I tend to try to build up now. Once I recognize that I have a belief in something, I try to recognize I'm starting from somewhere and I'm trying to build up. Like the belief that my car will start in the morning is based on my experience before.
As long as that battery's good, you're okay.
I think the best example might be, I grew up in a progressive household, right? And I think my political beliefs took a beating when I really started getting into SE. So I would question things like, it's just like a lot of liberal ideals, like from a fundamental standpoint. And I still politically lean center left, and I might not go as far as a lot of people would hope.
There's extremes everywhere. There's extreme right and extreme left. I'm not extreme left, but I am very much for, the standard leftist type of ideas. The equality for everyone, human rights, be fucking smart about the way you live, like that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
And so I think there were just some things it caused me to think about a little bit more. So usually I try not to take a super hard stance on something until I feel like I have some basis to make a decision. And that's usually where I get stuck. For me, one of the downfalls to me is that, like, I will think about a decision that I have to make. Like right now I'm trying to decide if I want to continue a master's program or if I want to trade careers completely, so things like that. I'll use SE.
Sorry. Like, what are you getting a master's in, and what do you want to change it to?
Great question. Right now, I've finished 12 credit hours in a music education degree. That's my current field.
I'm all for that.
Yeah. But I wonder sometimes. I think about, okay, am I really enjoying what I'm doing now? Is this something that I want to invest another $20,000 or $15,000 in? Or do I want to continue pursuing things like, well, what would I do? Would I try to start a business? Would I try to make some kind of living out of philosophy? What are the values from which that I want to make a decision? Like, do I want to value the money? Do I want to be able to have enough money to have a comfortable life? Or do I want to try to contribute ideas in the form of philosophy and learn enough and devote enough time and effort into something like philosophy to produce something that's consumable and provide a legacy? But will that provide for me while I'm here?
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of questions about the reason why I'm in the field that I'm in now. It's stable, secure. I know I can have a relatively healthy, happy life, but is this the thing that's going to make me feel fulfilled in 60 years when I'm on my deathbed? Hopefully I make it that long. But that's my typically that's where I find trouble with SE, is where sometimes I'll find myself in this capacity where I just don't know and I can't make a decision. I feel very much like Chidi from The Good Place. Have you seen that, Neil?
Yeah, I know who you mean.
No, he's a moral philosopher, but I don't have as
yeah.
much issue with that. But
Thanks, Derek, by the way, for the $5 super chat, and I'm glad you dig the show.
Everybody should hit that $5 super chat. I did one recently. It's super easy if you're watching on your phone or if you're watching this on your computer.
You little dollar sign square.
Yeah, hit that, and then it was like a double tap and a face scan, and it was.
I super chat all the time for people that I know personally, basically, that are doing their stuff. I'll definitely send them $5 or $10 here and there.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, those kinds of things. I'm learning more and more how valuable that is to the people who are creators.
So I got this whole rig now. All my super chats, because Google finally paid me. They were holding on to, and they dumped into my account like $405.
Ooh, Google, yeah.
I can get the boom and everything now, and I do have a green screen now, but I'm gonna build a rig to actually so I can roll it down when I want to use it. Then I can be in like the cockpit of an X-wing or something like that when I'm doing this, or who knows.
And so I guess just a bit of camp on that question. So yeah, where do I use SE? It's when I'm trying to make decisions. Like, okay, what values am I going to use and why? And what is ultimately important? And I'd say unfortunately, but I think I'm better off. Unfortunately, I don't have religion to guide me toward God. Otherwise, I'd just be preaching on a street corner. Yeah, I would literally, I think I'm the type of person where if God existed and I believed that my behaviors day to day influenced whether or not I had an eternity in heaven or an eternity in hell, that would be the only thing I could think about. And I'm thankful to primarily, I guess, my father for giving me that idea that it's okay to question things. And for anybody who has kids out there, that's what I hope I can do that for my kids too at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Susan was just saying that when she was on my show, she had the Millennium Falcon cockpit, which was awesome because she had it in the background there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was kind of cool.
I've got the whole world. This is actually proof that it's flat. So in case anybody was still wondering, proof, it's right on my wall. It's the whole world.
And if you took them down, and you'd have it all, your whole world in your hands.
Yeah, you can.
All right.
You take them down and actually, it's because I spin it. That's why the sun goes on certain places.
World on his wall. He's got the whole world. Sorry.
Yeah, I like it.
I can't sing, people. I just fake it. I have a programmed voice or whatever.
I think that's what we were talking about too. So while I was in church and in youth group, I was like the drummer.
Yeah.
Like, so, I'm a percussionist. My dad was a percussionist. My dad played timpani at big church, and I would play drum set at youth group. So, definitely remember playing songs by Gungor. You had, what was the other ones? Like God's Not Dead, He's Surely Alive, things like that. all those good.
You mean the movie God's Not Dead?
Ooh. Yeah, well, because they used that song actually at the end, I think, of the movie.
Did they?
Or maybe yeah, they used that song in there. There was coins. We gotta take a drink.
Yeah, we gotta drink, guys. There you go.
This reminds me of the My Book of Mormon podcast, where every time we say
empty.
This reminds me of the My Book of Mormon podcast, where every time we say, and so it came to pass, you got to take a drink.
So. Well, that is spoken a lot. So
yes,
people get really, really drunk if you had to do it every time someone said "Amen." Amen. Fuck me, I'm getting hammered.
Yeah. So
actually, I want to talk a little bit about your band stuff that you did, like you were doing stuff in the church and stuff like that. How did somebody ask you to do that, or did you volunteer to do that?
I wanted to do it. So in middle school, I would look up to the guys who are like a couple years older than me, and I was like, I can't wait till they graduate and just leave so I can start drumming. And yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's why it's up there. You didn't know that? Come on. I was looking forward to it. I really wanted to drum. I really thought that it was the most important thing, and I could not believe that. I guess maybe I wasn't aware that there were people who didn't believe it. I just knew that there were people who believed it, but they were the crazy ones, or like they were like, they were not living out the life that Jesus would have preferred. So, you got televangelicals, televangelists. Televangelicals. So you'd have them up there, and those were obviously, they were obviously incorrect. Obviously, natural disasters were just natural disasters. We knew that. They were the ones who were saying that it was God. So
no, it was caused by the homosexuals. Didn't you know that?
Oh gosh, no. We were one of those like affirming churches where it's just like everybody gets to experience God's love. You know, hell doesn't mean what you think hell means. Heaven doesn't necessarily mean what you think heaven means. Honestly, all in all, it made it pretty easy to deconvert. And I still remember, I think I was sitting at an Applebee's with my mom. I said, "Mom, you know, I'm actually an atheist." And her only question was, she asked me two questions. One was, you know, what did we do wrong? Like, what did we do that kind of pushed you away or whatever? And I'm like, nothing. In fact, it's because you guys gave me, you know, some tools and gave me support and love all the way through this that I feel comfortable even talking about it. Right. And then the second thing was, well, where do you find your hope? And I remember she got teary-eyed and she was just like, where do you find hope?
Oh, wow. In the dictionary.
Yeah, in the dictionary, that'd be funny. But I just thought, I was like, well, when it comes down to it, I don't know if I said this, but my thoughts on it now are that, you know, hope doesn't influence truth, right? And if I'm seeking truth and I want to live by truth, which is what I had been told, is like, live your truth. If you're a Christian, live your truth. Like, well, and that's what we encourage people within the church, right? Or what we did encourage people in the church was go out and spread the gospel, right? Like if you know, God gives us this and we need to spread that. We need to share that. So sharing the truth was always important to me.
No, it's not a need. It's a want. It's nothing about needing to do it. They just want to do it because they feel compelled to do it. Because it says in the book, go out and spread the word and all that nonsense in there. So
yeah. Well, and I guess you could say that that's like a want that I feel like I still have. So as like, that's one of those values that I'm considering now as I can consider my path forward. You know, I'm happy and healthy now. I'm able to keep going if I want to, just exactly doing what I'm doing now. But I've always had this pull. I've always wanted to grow and do something more. And I don't know. To me, it's like, it's not okay just to continue doing the same thing. Like I fulfilled a position that a person had been there for 37 years doing the same job. Everybody hated her by the point that they left, and they're not remembered as the legacy that they left behind is already gone. In other words, and you know, this could just be like so I have to consider what kind of ego do I have? Am I playing up my ego, or am I actually trying to contribute anything? These are all the questions that I'm asking myself right now. So if anybody has life coaching, career choice suggestions, feel free to drop that in the comments for me.
I personally think you should be driving a Coca-Cola truck. No, I'm just kidding.
I know some people who drive Coca-Cola trucks, and they are wonderful people.
I do too. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that, when I lived in a little town called Ladner, he was a Coke driver, and he used to do his house up for Halloween every year. And I was always a part of it. I always got to dress up like a zombie and wander around in it, because he had these big mazes and shit. And the kids could come in and get candies. And he had fog machines, so I would like wandering around as a zombie in the fog, scaring the crap out of kids. It was a lot of fun. But he put on a huge show. Yeah, like people, they would hang a witch in a tree, so it made it look like she fell and dropped. But of course, it was rigged properly, so she didn't get hurt. But kids were like, holy crap. They were like freaking out because they thought all this shit was real. He had severed hands that he would cut off people. Oh, yeah, but they weren't real, of course. But he was a bit of a magician, you might say. So he knew how to do the whole illusion type things. And the kids loved going to his house because I don't know what it is, but kids love shitting their pants. I don't know why, but they get scared.
As soon as I started, and it's funny because I always loved like the haunted houses. Yeah, but there also came a point where it was just like too much, just like gore, just for gore's sake. But I always enjoyed like the shocks and the. But at the same time, I was able to balance. Yeah, and I always liked to go in and be like, oh yeah, this isn't going to affect me. I know it's all just actors and just paintings and stuff. But the good haunted houses will immerse you, I guess, in the feeling and And in that sense, you can always appreciate it whether or not you like getting scared.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. One year I got to play Jason and hide behind the candy bowl. And there's all the fog, and then I would rise up out of the fog as the kids were coming to grab the candy.
I love it. I love it.
It was a lot of fun. Halloween's like my favorite holiday. And believe it or not, even though I was raised as a Jew and I appreciate Hanukkah, but Christmas, there's just something about it, getting together with the family and the friends. Not my family. Well, it's weird because my grandma married a Christian guy. So we did the Christmas and the Hanukkah thing together. So we had a little bit of both. Right. So, but just getting together with everyone was a lot of fun. So, and just that feeling that you get when you're with your whole family and everyone's swapping stories about what's gone on the past year or whatever. Right. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and
and the food.
Gosh, and just getting together with everyone, that's one of the primary reasons, like my favorite Christmas song right now, and I know it's like a lot of atheists' favorite Christmas song, it's White Wine in the Sun by Tim Minchin.
Never even heard of it. Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, and he's just talking. Yeah, and it's just like a beautiful melody. He's a beautiful singer, and it's a beautiful message. If I sit down, and I've sat down and I've shared it with some close friends of mine, just kind of one-on-one, I'm like, look, I need you to listen to this song. And
he's so funny.
Yeah, and he's hilarious. And in this song, he still takes a couple jabs at religion, which I enjoy just as much as the next person. But he also, one of the quotes that I try to remember when I think really deeply about just like, okay, am I just making fun of religion or am I making a point? I want people to remember, and like if this could be a message that I leave with my own, if I ever have a following or my own kids or whatever, it's that atheism is not a thing. It's the first step in like a 1,000-step journey. I didn't come up with that, but I've heard that before, and that's really humbling for me to remember. When I remember like atheism is nothing, and so what am I going to do now that? Great, I don't believe that a God exists. Now what? And it's
Carry
such
on as if one doesn't. That's all I can do.
And but the feeling of being around a family, that feeling of connectedness with another human being, whether that's a partner or partners or your family or friends or whatever community you're in, that feeling of closeness is something that I would hope everybody experiences on an ongoing basis. So anyway, that's why I like that song, because I've gotten to experience that with a couple friends and a significant So that's really important to me anyway, sharing music.
I just want to do a quick little shout out to the Quiet Gorilla who has joined us in the chat. Welcome, Quiet Gorilla. And Quiet Gorilla has grabbed a bunch of stuff for me off my Amazon wish list. He's almost cleared the damn thing off, so I'm going to have to come up with some other stuff I might need in the future. And he's probably wondering, why isn't he using his fucking green screen yet? Because I don't think he was here for the explanation earlier. I'm making a rig so I can just roll it up and roll it down for when the time comes on the show, because I don't want to hammer it into the wall behind me or the landlord will get pissed off at me. So I'm working on making a rig for it. So it'll be soon. It'll be soon. We'll probably use it for the True North Talk as well, I think. So.
I'm running into the same kind of problem. I built up all these like sound things, and I'm scared from whenever I move out of this place, I'm gonna have to spray down all the adhesive that's on the wall, and that's gonna be fun.
Well, they got that 3M tack stuff. Mm-hmm. They're not thumbtacks, but they apparently that stuff works pretty good, and I could even use it with the green screen. Mm-hmm. But I tried something similar to it. It wasn't a 3M product one; it was just some cheap knockoff. And I tried to post them, and one by one they just went bloop, bloop, fell off the wall. So I was like, "Well, that sucks."
Yeah. I think I dealt with that with these ones, the adhesive that came with it. They were just falling off.
Yeah,
couldn't do anything with it.
And I really want to put my buddy Easism's picture up on my wall too that he made for me. Well, he didn't make it for me. He made it, and I bought it off of him, which is that Cookie Monster one that I always show everybody, right? Which is just fucking epic. Because I was a big Cookie Monster fan. It says, "Take a cookie, leave a cookie."
I love it.
It's fucking beautiful.
I don't have any of my art right at hand, but
I got everything. Everything within arm's reach.
I should do one of those. So I'm on TikTok at ben.g.se. And you've just given me the idea. I need to make a pieces of artwork that just makes sense for my apartment. Art around my apartment that just makes sense, and then that way everybody can kind of understand my.
I kind of like the pieces when the people see them. They go, the hell? And then you have to explain it, right? I think those are
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
She was interpreting Velcro. I had a cat named Velcro once, and the reason I named him Velcro is because when we brought him home from the pet store, just a little wee thing. As a joke, my friend had him, and he just put him on the back of the couch, like on the back part of the couch, and he just stuck there. I said, "Oh, there's his name, Velcro."
I love it.
And then somebody stole him.
Somebody stole him?
Yeah, he just disappeared one day, and I was delivering pizzas at the time, and I did a delivery at this one person's house, and sure as shit, sitting on the table right behind the person who answered the door was my cat Velcro. And I'm like, I look at him, and the cat goes, he looks at me, he goes, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," and I go, "Where'd you get this cat?" And they go, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Because that looks just like my fucking cat that I lost down at number 2 road." "Oh no, we've had him since a kitten." Right, because that's my cat. Oh, Murder Shed showed up.
Hey, oh, what's up, Murder Shed? Or Mr. Steve. Glad you had a second from your busy day to at the shed to drop in. But let's see.
Murdering people in the shed.
I did mention I do have like a YouTube channel, but I don't post a whole lot on there. Well, I'm posting on there, but what I'm doing is it's literally just me reading out loud this set of books that my father gave me, and it was one that his dad had originally bought before him, and it's actually just the Bible.
True. Yeah, it's literally true what Sam said.
It's just the Bible. Oh, what's that? Oh,
it says Neil just sits in a ring of props to have to hand just in case or whatever.
Oh, no. Yeah. I know I've got like a ball. I've actually got some lays in case I ever need to say that I got laid.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I got some like soccer balls and things like that.
Nice.
Oh, and I've got my increasingly popular like little teeny tiny hands. Ah.
Oh, they're Donald Trump hands.
Yeah, they're. Well, I'd have to spray paint them orange. But yeah. Anyway, the YouTube channel stuff that I've got going now, I'm literally just reading through The Great Conversation from Britannica. And they've got like these 10 years of suggested reading. And so I'm about a quarter or a third of the way through the first year. The YouTube channel's under the same name, Ben G S E. If you want to watch like, or plug in your earbuds and listen to me sniffle and look down and reading, and it looks just kind of like this, except I'm like, every once in a while I'll check my phone, or every once in a while I'll talk to the nobody who's in the chat. And but that's a kind of like a personal project that I said. I know I told you I haven't really put it out there. I haven't posted very much about it at all. Once in a while I'll post a link on my Twitter. But to me, it's like important. What's that?
You have to give me a link to your channel and to your TikTok, and I can add both of them to the description box below. Because I didn't realize you had a YouTube. Because I've never seen anything by you on there. So
yeah, I really don't. I don't post anything fun on there. That's the truth. So, but that is like a side project that I've got going on. That's like a long term. That's going to take me, according to the book, 10 years to finish. So that'll be something to look forward to completing when I'm in 2030. Maybe that'll be done.
In 2030.
Yeah.
I hope I'm still alive.
Me too, man. Me too.
What? You hope I'm still alive, or you hope you're still
alive? Both of us. The both of us.
Well, I'll probably still be alive, but I'll be a crusty old mother by then.
I usually tell people if I'm going to die in my 20s, it'll be on the road, and unfortunately, the way things are.
Or like the Spinal Tap drummers who happened in a freak gardening accident or something.
And that's why I haven't joined any rockumentary bands, any groups that are going to be in any upcoming mockumentaries.
This is a valid point. Another one by Sam. I hope humanity still exists then. Yeah, me too. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will be. It may not be the most pristine of conditions anymore here, but I'm sure we'll still be here in some fashion. But let's talk a little bit about how you got involved with the Tart guys and what's been your experience working with those guys on the channel.
Yeah. So, okay, the backstory on this, I met Objectively Dan at the Secular Student Alliance conference, I think in 2017. It was my second year there. The year before, I had actually given a talk about street epistemology at the conference. And then this second year, he was giving the talk. It seems like they've been trying to do a talk on street epistemology every year. He was giving the talk about it then. He also had the new branded stuff. He had was giving out shirts, things like that. We ended up going out to eat with some of my friends from my school. We kept up on Twitter. And so I'd see the stuff that he was doing. I'd watch Truth Wanted, an excellent show that's put on every Friday night by the atheist community of Austin that Objectively Dan hosts.
Yeah, my very good friend Dallas Wade was the host last night.
I saw that, and I saw that Dallas was in the comments, and I was just listening to that episode today. I thought it was excellent. So, so Dan and I have a little bit of a back and forth. I met him again this summer, and after that discussion this summer, I started thinking to myself, man, I really got to start making content. I got to do something. Dan, what do you know about getting into making content? Well, hey, I'll put you in this SE Content Creators Facebook group. Ended up getting connected with some people. Anthony Magnabosco ends up suggesting Tart out of nowhere. He's just like, hey, you got to check out TikTok. Have you tried TikTok? Nobody's on TikTok yet. Connects me with Pasta Mike, The Oz. I make my first few videos on TikTok. And then all of a sudden I start showing up on the Atheist Roundtable shows. And I've been adding backdrops, upgrading my little setup on my desk. And all of a sudden we're where we are now. We're still, I think, at the beginning of our journey, obviously. I think still haven't hit a year yet with the show, but they're over 1,000 subscribers now. And
yeah, they are.
So,
they're like 1,200, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing to be part of something growing from the ground floor. Yeah. And to watch the growth and to see the kind of production and okay, I'm the lucky one, okay? Everybody watching this is going to say, where's Ben? Ben's not on the show like hardly ever. Well, yeah, no, I get to show up. I just get to turn on my computer, hit the link, show up on the show and do my bit. And then they're gracious enough to let me leave sometimes. Sometimes I'll stay on for the whole show if we've got a guest that maybe I personally know. Sometimes I'll just get on to do a little bit of street epistemology, and then I'll watch it and try to stay on the comments.
I was going to suggest something.
Okay.
I think you would probably be a cool little segment. They do it with the atheist, there's no longer going to be an atheist vanguard. It's being merged into the nonprofits. Which, by the way, guys, I'm going to be a semi-regular host on the nonprofit show, just to let you guys know, where they have a couple of shots of people talking to people about what they believe and why out on the streets. And I think you guys should incorporate you doing that and just putting little clips in the show where you go out and do that.
I think
that'd be kind of cool.
One of the original ideas that we've had was that when I go out some of these weekends, some of these nights that I'm able to, I'm going to try to get kind of a good library of recordings. We'll probably start picking out the ones that I want to put out there on YouTube just as a full chat. Maybe we'll find some that we can chop up like that. And I mean, the guys are so talented. Pasta Mike doesn't get enough credit for the type of work that he puts in behind the scenes, the late nights that he pulls. I like to complain a lot. So I like to be the one who's like, guys, I gotta wake up in 6 hours. So I'm gonna go. But these guys, they'll stay up and get run on 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night just to make sure that the Atheist Roundtable looks good and sounds good. And that they always have new guests and things coming on. So I really just get to ride on their coattails, and I get to just like slide in and do my part and say bye. But I can go ahead and say this: they've started providing me that community. Like I think about it's not like a replacement for, because it's something completely different. But you think about people leave religion and they think about the things that they miss about church. One of them is just the feeling of community. One of them might be Sunday school. You might have those 3 or 4 friends from Sunday school who are really important to you. Well, that's these guys to me. I get to, Oz and I have gotten to stay up late, just chatting on the phone, sharing stories, and getting to become really good personal friends. Not just I don't know if the word business partner is appropriate, or just show co-hosts or show participants with, but those 4 guys,
your creative partners.
There you go. They are.
And Oz is fucking awesome. I instantly liked him when we started getting to know each other a little bit.
So I'm really happy to be on
all
it.
You guys.
Oh yeah.
So you guys do, like Sam said. Once again, Sam coming up with the wisdom nuggets. It's funny you guys are called tart, because from what I've seen, you guys are all pretty sweet.
Oh, I get it. Sweet tarts.
Sweet tarts. Oh, we have those in Canada.
Oh, you.
Yeah, those things are delicious. I used to fucking mow down on those when I was a kid.
I like
Especially the big, huge one. The big one that you used to.
They've got, I think, the soft ones now, and I think they've got the big soft like sour sweet tarts. Or oh no, they've got those. Maybe I'm thinking about the Starburst that they came out, but the sweet tarts have like a chewy one too. The ropes,
they do.
The ropes are
They
good.
do. Yeah. Oh,
Down here, I think they usually call them like cowtails or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm addicted to candy too. So it's like I went into Walmart the other day and I bought, like, you know how they have the chocolates that are out right now, the candy bars and shit for Halloween. And I bought like 2 of the 95-piece boxes with like the Twix and the Snickers and the fucking Mars bars and M&Ms and they're like, oh, you guys are gonna have kids by your place. I'm like, fuck that. These are for me. This is for when I'm at home watching cartoons, lady. She's like, huh?
I think Junior Mints are probably my favorite go-to candy, because I could just pop
Junior
one in
Mints.
and I can watch a whole movie and still have like a couple Junior Mints done by the end, because I'll eat it real slow.
They just got the part about the cowtails. Holy shit, I love those.
And I was going to mention the thing about all of us on Tart being sweet. Have you met Jeff? Did you watch the Jeff episode? The guy's name is literally Atheist Troll. I don't.
Yeah.
He's pretty tart to me.
Hysterical.
But he actually he lives less than an hour away from me, and so we've done a couple crossover TikToks where we do a couple TikToks together, and we've begun planning some like bi-weekly street epistemology sessions. I think we're going to go out to some parks and practice together and try to see what we can come up with. So look out for some of that material.
For sure. And I'll address Quiet Gorilla here too.
Okay.
Yeah, the huge sweet tarts, the big ones. So you had like, you get 2 in a pack back to back, right? A grape one and a cherry one or whatever the fuck it was. And they used to come in their little cellophane packs. And I remember being a kid and they were so much bigger back then. Same thing with those wagon wheels. You ever have wagon wheels?
I don't know if I've ever heard of those.
Cookie. They're round chocolate things with a cookie on each side and marshmallow in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And when I was a kid, they looked huge. And then I've seen them recently and they're like fucking, the top of my beer can is bigger than these things now.
Have you heard of moon pies?
Yeah, it's a similar idea.
Similar idea. Okay. What's the difference between the moon pie and the wagon wheel?
Name, probably, and company that makes it. That's about it.
Probably one's from the south and one's from the north.
No, Quiet Gorilla, everything's not getting smaller. We got bigger, and they just look smaller to us now. They were the same size. I actually did that. I went back and a friend of mine actually collects candy. So he had some old sweet tarts and old wagon wheels from way back in the day. Of course, I probably wouldn't eat them now, but he just keeps them as a collector thing for whatever reason. And we compared the new ones and they're exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's just we got bigger, so they look smaller now. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And enough about the candy. My tooth is already hurting.
Yeah, usually if I'm looking for a treat now, I'm looking for some kind of porter or stout or some kind of something new. That's my sweet now.
Oka porter sort of thing.
Yes.
They make a great one here that I pick up all the time, and it's like an ABV, I think. But I'm telling you, man, if you're hanging around with R and Raw, if you're not drinking a beer that's super dark and above 11 ABV, then you're just not cool in his books. So he'd always be like, what are you drinking? You're drinking urine over there. Here, try this. He'd give you one of these things. And he gave me one time that had a habanero in it. It had a habanero flavor that would give you a little bit of a kick at the end of it. And it's actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think I've seen that around. I don't know if I've tried that yet. Or I've seen a similar idea, stouts with something. You got to have that sweet and spicy. I think they got that kind of barbecue down here too.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of which, one of my fans sent me like 6 bottles of hot sauce type different. Two. There's 2, and one's called Black Label. One's called Shit the Bed, which I think is hysterical. He gave me 2 bottles of each of those, and then he gave me another one that's just hot sauce and one that's a barbecue sauce, and they're all made in Australia. And he is actually candy is of the devil. He actually wanted me to do a teaspoon of the Black Label, which is the hottest one that he sent me. And I've tried it, and it's hot, but I could do it. But I'm not going to do it until he's actually in the chat to actually witness it. So,
he's got to get in the
we'll
chat.
Be waiting. Hello, Robert Allen Williamson Sr. Christian has come in to watch as well. I appreciate you showing up. Yeah, it's all. I try and have. Yeah, Susan, Arn Rye equals beer. Yeah, pretty much.
I was gonna say I usually don't try to go Christian watching. That's something that's not a habit I try to get in. So,
well, I don't have any issues with people if they have beliefs in things like that. As long as they're not, harmful with those beliefs and trying to shove them down someone else's throat. And I get the whole idea, go out and spread the gospel. I get it, right? Of course, one of the things that I've always said, damn, I'm just not used to this yet. When I was born, they say God has a plan, and the only way to get to God is through Jesus, the Son of God, right? The only way to get, or some people think he is God personified. Oh, Quiet Gorilla. The weekly beer money. Thank you, sir. This is why I am allowed to keep getting these things, because Quiet Gorilla keeps my wallet full of beer money. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I was born to Christians. Okay. I was born to, I know now because I've met my biological family. One was Catholic and the other one was just, I think, some Presbyterian type Christian denomination. But, of course, they were young, 16 and 17, I think, at the time. And this was back in 65-ish, because I was born in 66. And, of course, they put me up for adoption. Now, I was raised in a Jewish family. Jews don't believe in Jesus, although there is a movement called Jews for Jesus, which is a real thing. So if God has a plan for me to be going down the right path, why would he put me with Jews instead of the people that actually had me? It just seems kind of weird to me, right? So that's one of the things that sort of led me away from the whole belief system anyways. And plus that and the fucking hundreds of contradictions in all the scriptures, because I've read them all, including offshoot stuff, including Kabbalistic stuff like the Kabbalah and all kinds of, which Madonna's right into. She's a Kabbalist, I think. That's Jewish mysticism, basically, the tree of knowledge. And
there's so much I don't know, and that's something that I'll have to look into. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so I went to Hebrew school. We learned. It's funny. I went to Hebrew school. We learned all the biblical stories of the Old Testament and whatnot. And then I went to, just because my buddy of mine would go to church, and I went to Sunday school with him all the time. And the lady that was teaching the Sunday school course kept asking people questions like, did you know? And I had my hand up every time. She's like, how do you know all of this, like from biblical stuff? Like, well, I was raised as a Jew and I went to Hebrew school and we learned this stuff when we're in our diapers. So I'm pretty much, I have all the knowledge of all these old stories and stuff like that. And the funny thing is, even growing up and hearing these stories with my Hebrew school teacher and whatnot, I always thought of them as sounding the same way other mythologies sounded to me. Like that David and Goliath. It sounds like a mythology. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's just a story. Like things like, it just sounds like these supernatural, fantastic stories that sounded just like all the other ones in any other mythology that I had or that I'd heard. Greek mythology, Roman mythology, North mythology, Japanese Shinto mythology, whatever. Like it just all sounded very serious, like very much the same to me. So, but I had a belief in some form of a deity growing up, but slowly but surely it just faded away. Once you realize that, I've always said, you know what, if there really was a God, especially the Abrahamic version of, and there's a few different versions, was real, we'd all know it. There would be no question. He's a God. He could make a book that no matter who picked it up, whatever language they spoke or read, they'd be able to read this book. And the most important message for humankind, right? They would be able to read it. Didn't matter, because he would make it that way. He's a deity, for Christ's sake. He could do it, right?
Yeah.
So I've had issues with it.
And like one of the linchpins for me was when I started thinking about the Bible as being a truth claim. When I thought about it as stories, and I think about Jesus encountering the devil, like, so I was rereading Matthew today, and I had all these flashbacks actually, where I'm rereading Matthew, and I'm remembering the way I was taught to read it. And it's been years since I looked at it. I started realizing I thought about, okay, the devil's taking Jesus up to the top of a temple, taking him to the top of a mountain, showing him all this stuff. And I'm like, reading it as a story, it's like super interesting.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
don't get
it's
me
easy
wrong.
to
They're
follow
great
along.
tales. Yeah.
But then it was like as soon as I started thinking about it from a fundamentalist perspective, or from a those darn Baptist and televangelist perspectives, I was just like, they're able to back up their beliefs with the Bible. I didn't know that the Bible claimed to be the inerrant word of God. I hadn't known that the Bible was saying you must believe this in this way, the way that Paul would have preached it. Once I started realizing that that's what the Bible mandated, that you're supposed to believe it a certain way, I realized that I was not doing that, and that I was not a good Christian. And that was a linchpin for me. As soon as I pulled that out, I was basically done with the idea that God, like, it just too many contradictions. None of it made sense. The world made more sense without it.
For sure.
If we could,
another super chat from P, one of my moderators extraordinaire, because he's always shilling out my stuff there. Thank you very much for the 10. I don't even know what SGD is. Is that super God dollars? Is that what that is?
I love it. Ooh. The young Ben Stiller. Thank you, Oz. Thank you, Oz.
The young Ben says it. Oops. No, not the Ben Stiller. Close though. It's a Ben.
It is. Just
not Ben Stiller, and luckily not Ben Shapiro.
And
I probably have punched you by now.
Potentially soon. If I do make a career shift in the next few years, maybe you'll just start saying, Christian J. Watkins was on the show recently, and I kind of envied him. I was like,
he's a good guy.
He's a
fucking
fantastic.
Smart.
He's going to be a name to watch, and I'm excited to see where he goes. But for him to be already doing his thing, thinking like Alex J. O'Connor type, you got these people who are just, this is what I do, and thank you for supporting my journey. Those are the people that I'm excited to watch, and but potentially we'll see where I am in my journey, and we'll see where in a year I might look back at this and think, man, that guy had no idea what was coming. So
yeah, I think we could all say that in a year from now, right? Like,
yeah, a year from now, especially.
Let's go back a year. Did any of us see the COVID shit coming?
No, not a chance.
But Robert actually mentioned Sumerian mythology, which is some of my favorite mythology. And actually, the Epic of Gilgamesh is out of Sumerian mythology, and it's pretty much a giveaway that a lot of the Noah story was ripped right from that, plus a few other flood stories that predated even the Sumerian one, of which the names are. I'm old and decrepit, so my memory doesn't work quite the way it used to. Anyway, but there's a lot of them. But yeah, anyway, Ben, we've come up on the hour, man. And
wow,
I just wanted to. I know time just goes just like that. I wish it did that. I wish it did that at work.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly that.
That would be so epic if that did happen. But dude, thank you so much for joining me today, man. It's been a great chat. We've had a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I find so much value in what you do, and I
appreciate that.
Yeah, anybody who finds value in what Neil's doing, it's important that you support it, and anything that you can do, like if all you can do is just watch and throw in a few dollars to the organizations that matter to you, like my for example, my father's in a symphony, and as you know, most
Cool.
concerts and things like that, they can't hold concerts, and so they can't generate ticket sales and things like that. So find your favorite organizations and shoot a few dollars that way. Neil definitely deserves it just as much as anyone else.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And that sounds like that would have been a lot of fun, Robert, because Thunderfoot's hysterical. I've never met him. He's one of the few more up-known sort of YouTubers that I have yet to meet, but I appreciate what he does, debunking shit, which is pretty cool. Robert, I'm from way back. Me too, my friend, me too. Born in 1966. I'm that guy that sits out front, and even though it's not my lawn, I'm like, get off my lawn! Because I live in an apartment building, so. And I wave my, I'll bring this out too. That's the thing I'll do for Halloween this year. Wave my cane, get off my lawn, you whippersnappers! Oh, there goes Boba Fett. Oh well.
I think you do have that ring of props. No, they weren't joking. You got.
Oh no,
everything out there.
I've got shit everywhere. I got shit everywhere. And my
Well,
Boba Fett I was referring to is made out of auto parts. So,
Oh,
like,
well, the good thing is nobody can say I've got 2 left feet. So,
jeez. There you go. We're all about the props.
yeah.
But props to you for coming on the show, sir. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And I hopefully when you guys do your shtick tonight, if you want, I'd be happy to welcome. I don't know how that got in there. I'd be happy to jump in whatever form of an after party you guys had, just for a few laughs. But hello, Wonder Lady. You're a little on the late side, but we are going to do 59 for you. Oh yeah, you got a few years on. I'm turning 54 on Tuesday, Robert. So I'm right behind you, buddy. I'm right behind you. Try not to trip over my cane, though. But anyways, dude, let's wrap this up. Let's get into an after party. I know you can stick around for a little while, but you guys do have your show coming up later this afternoon.
Yeah, we got some time.
Yeah, so let's do that. We'll have a couple more beers or whatever and shit with some of our friends and see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm going to go pour myself a drink right now. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I wouldn't expect you to pour me one. I'm way over here, you're way over there. So
I'll walk it over. No big deal.
Walk it over. See you in a week. All right, so... all right, guys, I want to thank everyone for joining Ben and myself today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. And Oz has claimed that he will message me tonight about details. So, hey, looks like I might pop to the Tarts show, guys. Whee! Anyways, I want to thank all my amazing patrons. Because of you guys, I'm able to upgrade the show with stuff like this. And the little foamies that was another one that was purchased for me by the ape man that was in the chat there, and yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, thanks to all my wonderful patrons. I lose myself sometimes. It's another part of the old thing, but like I always say at the end of these shows, guys, with the COVID thing going on right now, wash your hands, wear a mask, and be safe and be well, and above all, be kind. And like I always say at the end of the shows, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time. Oops. Hang on here. All right, here comes the outro music.